What's up, peeps, and welcome back to Sorrel Plays. Quick and easy DIY video for you today. I promised yesterday that I'd put this up. Wallpaper stripping, simple as that. So you can see here I am going to be using my steamer and my scraper. Now this scraper's got a really rigid kind of arm to it, so it's really good for scraping paper. You can get the other types of scrapers, but they're not the best. This has got a sharp blade on it. So we start off by just ripping off the top layer of paper. This one's quite easy to rip off, so we will just take off what we can while the steamer heats up. You can see that's coming off in one piece. We're going to be able to do that with most of this white vinyl paper on the top, because it's quite a thick foamy paper. But where there's stubborn bits, you're going to have to use your scraper a little bit. And the good thing about this scraper is, because it's got the rigid arm, it doesn't bend and stuff. So it's, you know, easy to actually strip off the paper while it's dry as well. But the layer you can see underneath, we're not going to be able to really strip that off dry. We're going to have to wet that one. Now you can use a little sprayer. Just spray onto the paper, wet it a little bit with a bit of soapy water if you want. Then you can gradually get round to stripping. But with a steamer, it's going to be so much quicker, and I would advise you buy one of those. They're about 30 quid in the shops, B&Q, Wix, Amazon and eBay do them as well. I've had mine 10 years now, so they last a long time as well if you look after them. Now you can see this paper's coming off really nicely here. So we're just going to keep doing that until the first layer is off. So you can start from the edges where there's a bit sticking up. If it's not sticking up, just use your scraper to start you off a little bit. So now that we've got most of the top layer off, we can start steaming the lower layers. And while you're getting your steam worked up, then you can still carry on peeling a little bit by hand. It only needs a minimal amount of steaming on the lining type of part of the paper. I mean, this paper's got the vinyl on top and then the lining part, which sticks firmly to the wall. But you can just steam the lining part for a few seconds in each spot, and it will start to come off. And while you're doing that and wetting the patches, then still continue to take off what you can by hand. It will make it easier. And as you can see here, we're getting the lining part of it off. Hardly wetting it at all. You don't need to leave your steamer in one spot for too long. I mean, a lot of people say that the steamers take off your plaster as well. That is only if you leave it hovering about on the same spot for too long. So an ideal time would be about 10 seconds to leave it on each spot. If you've got that stubborn bit of paper, which the last bit, this turquoise bit you can see here, this is paper but it's painted over. So that's going to be a little bit more difficult to do because you need to go through the paint and the paper, and that is vinyl paint on there, and this will strip off the vinyl paint as well. It might come off, the paint might come off first and then the paper will start to come off, so you might have to score some of it, but I'm doing quite fine without scoring it. I mean, this is just one wall that I'm doing, so I've got all the patience in the world to do it. I actually decided I wanted a mural on here as well, so I'm getting rid of all the paper and I'm going to continue the same mural. And I've ordered my mural to come, so I'm just going to wait for that. So we're just going to be working through the layers as I am here, and just using your scraper and your, obviously use your hand as well for certain bits that you can do while you're steaming. You can multitask like that. So I'm going to speed this up a little bit so you don't nod off while I'm doing that. Feel free to make yourself a cup of tea and come back, because I will be on this for quite a while. This wall took me quite a long time to do with the 4 or more layers of paper, because when I moved into this house I just painted over the paper that was already there, and over the years I've kind of added to it. So this is me doing it properly this time. You can see the turquoise paper starting to come off as well now with the paint. So they're not coming off in separate layers in certain parts. In certain parts they are, but it's coming off with the lining underneath as well, which is a good thing. And you can just work on one spot until you've gone through all the layers, or go over the whole area, get off the first layer and then go to the second layer. But I find that while it's wet in one area, it's actually easy to go down into the next layer as well. It's all up to you how you want to do that. but you know, you will get there eventually with the help of your steamer. The steamer doesn't take too long to heat up, which is brilliant. You just simply top it up with water whenever you run out, and I filled it up about 3 times for this job. So just get a jug nearby and keep filling it up when it needs it. Do be careful, because while it's on and while it's hot, if you pour water into it, it can start splattering everywhere. So just wait for it to cool down for a few seconds while you have a cup of tea and come back to it, and then fill it up and put it on. It just takes seconds to heat up. So you can see here I've got to the edge. Obviously, if you had planned this in the first place to do this wall as well, I would have done it all in the same time before I put the other mural up. But as I'm doing it separately, and if you do need to do it separately without damaging the wall next to it, then just slice down the corner with a sharp knife. That way you will just be taking off the part you want to take off. And if there's anything underneath kind of touching the other wallpaper or the mural, you won't be ripping that off as well. And you can see here it comes off quite easily, and it's not going past the line because I have cut it previously. So we just got little strips on the sides to get rid of, and we're not touching the mural paper next to it at all. So keep going, have your breaks, come back to it. It can be a bit tedious and boring, but you'll get the job done, as I did in about 2 hours it took me to do this wall. So here it is, all clean and ready for the mural. There's a few bits I've left up here. I'm going to sugar soak the wall to get all the sticky residue off it, and at the same time I can just scrape off those bits of lining paper simply. Thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully the video helped you a little bit. Get on with them wallpaper stripping jobs, and do buy the steamer because it really helps, especially if you've got many walls to do. I'll see you on the next video. If you haven't subscribed, please do. Put a thumbs up on the video if you want to see more videos like this. I've got plenty more projects to do, and if you want to see them, then I will put them up. Take care. See you on the next video, and peace out. And for your health and safety, make sure you've got a soft landing behind you. It helps.